Well, hello friends. Welcome back to the program. Today we are going to work on system fonts, and specifically I would like a way to change the system font that's currently in use. So at the moment, if you want to run the system with a different window, menu font, stuff like that, what you have to do is you have to go and edit the font database class and look for the default font. And then here you just have to put in a different font query, like maybe I want the 12 version of Kotetsu. So this is pretty lame. And I think it would be better if you could go into the display settings here and we would have a fonts tab where you could select which fonts is used for everything. And I don't know, we should probably have some like categories or whatever, a few separate settings. So I'm thinking something like Mate has these 5 font settings, right? So application, document, desktop, window, title, and fixed width. What we have today is effectively we have a default font and a fixed width font. These two right here actually. And I think the way we compute the window title font today, for example, is we just take the default font and then ask for a bold variant of that. And I feel like it would make sense to have a separate window title font setting, but we don't have to get too carried away. There's a lot of things to do here. So maybe the first thing we should do is just have a mechanism to like propagate this information globally. So I think we'll want to have something similar to the way the color theme works. So color theme is distributed by Windows Server. So when applications connect to Windows Server on startup, they receive a buffer that has all the theming information, but it's the color theming information. But I think fonts are, at least in my preference, fonts are separate from color themes. So I think we're not going to make the font part of the theme, but rather have it be a separate thing so that you can configure them independently. Just like you can here in Mate. I quite like this. So yeah. So I'm thinking when you connect to Windows Server, not only will it give you the color theme, but it would also give you for simplicity, we can just have it give you the font queries to use. So if we go to Window Client, so when a Windows system client connects to Windows Server for the first time, it will receive this fast greet message, which contains the screen rect. So how big is the desktop resolution? And it also gets this theme buffer that I just mentioned. I think we can probably include here like the default font and the fixed width font. Let's see. Should we call these something else? Like default font, fixed width font, and maybe this is okay for now. Yeah, let's not overthink it. Let's just do this, and then the goal of the exercise right now is to not have to do this hard-coded stuff here, but rather everybody gets this from Windows Server instead. And Windows Server can also decide to broadcast a new font setting, which would be something like the theme update here, update system theme. So we would have update system fonts. So that would be default font and fixed width font. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then we can always expand that later with more information. With more fonts, I mean. Okay, so when we broadcast the fast greet, that happens here in Windows Server when somebody connects. So we send them the screen rect and the theme buffer. So I think what we'll do here is we'll simply send out the I was thinking the name of the default font and the name of the fixed width font. So I don't know where we're gonna keep those. Let's just keep them somewhere globally for now, I guess. So maybe in Window Manager. Or no, that doesn't make any sense. Font settings. Fixed width font. And let's say a name, maybe. Maybe query, like I'm always bouncing between different names for these things, but I feel like query is a good name for this, because we're not talking about a font, right? Like a specific variant of a typeface, but we're talking about a query for a font. So we want like this typeface, this weight, this size. So I think we'll call these queries. And then it's up to the system, the font system, to provide you with something in response to that query, because there's a lot of nuance to this stuff. Like for example, if you have like a font query that gives you some glyphs from one font, but it's missing some other glyphs, so it has to do fallback to a different font, and what you end up getting is like a composite of multiple fonts. We don't really do that at the moment, but it's probably something that we should do eventually. Anyways, I am getting ahead of myself, so let's not do that. Let's just do this. And I was thinking the font settings, let's put that in Windows Server somewhere for now. Font settings.h. And this is just going to be a place to stash this information, really. Can we do font settings? There we go. And what did we call these? We had default font query and fixed width font query, right? So default font query. Make those static, let's say. We don't have to get fancy here. Let's just do this for now. I guess I do want the CPP file. I was thinking at first we're not going to do a CPP file, but let's do a CPP file. Okie dokes, and reload. Nah. So for now, I think we can simply make these return those hard-coded strings that we have. So font settings. Was that it? 10400, and this one is Chilla 10400, right? So let's do those. Okay, so now everybody will receive these when they start, and I think nobody will do font stuff until they've talked to Windows Server. It's possible that somebody does. Certainly the multi-process web browser stuff is going to need some help with this because the web content process is not supposed to talk directly to Windows Server. So we'll have to sort of pass this along from Windows Server, but it shouldn't be too much of a trick. So ideally, in the end, this function would just go away. All of these would just go away. And be replaced with something else. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but actually maybe what we should do is not take them away, but rather just update them. So like set default font query would be something like this. So if what's it, f default font query, no s default font query. See, so these are static, right? Oopsie doopsie. Right, so they're static, so we need to I need to yoink out the storage here a little bit. This is a little bit not beautiful, but let's just roll with it for now. So we'll do that. And actually, no, I guess we'll do this. This is what it should look like. And once we do that, we will also forget the previous default font. Yeah. Get my name. Wait, how does that work? These are raw pointers. And we're getting a ref pointer from the font database. So that one is not strongly referencing, these functions are not strongly referencing what they get from the font database. That's goofy. I guess the font database keeps it alive. Yes, it does. Okay. So the font database actually keeps all fonts alive. That's not a very good design either. We should, that's something that we need to improve. Not right now, but I think effectively that means that the more fonts you have in the system, every application that uses fonts will load all fonts and then keep them in memory. So like it has a very negative effect. The more fonts you add, like the more memory usage would just balloon. We should really make it so that we only load what actually gets used. Anyway. So let's add this function here to the interface of font database, like that, and oops, fixed width font query. Should we call it a fixed font or fixed width font? Fixed width font is a bit better, I guess. So I don't like that these are raw pointers. Let's make them into ref footers instead. Raw pointers are a bit smelly. All right. And here we will simply get the s default font query, right? Yeah. So far so good. S fixed width font query. And at this point, I guess we should also verify that the fixed width font query is non-empty, because it gets weird if it's empty. And we're just going to expect somebody to hook us up with a query before these APIs are called. It's a little bit, I don't know, presumptuous or whatever, but maybe that's okay. And then if we build this, then the IPC system will generate, or wait, no, where do we take care of the fast greet? The fast greet is a special IPC message because we don't ask for it. It just shows up immediately when a client connects to Windows Server. Then Windows Server will always send a fast greet to you when you connect. And it comes in, you can just, so what clients do is when clients are setting up, they actually explicitly wait for the fast greet message to come. Otherwise, the client would like execute until it hits the event loop and then the fast greet would come in. But that breaks a bunch of things that assume that we have stuff like theme information before we get to the initial event loop entry point. So that's why we have to wait for it before we continue. So the message will now have additional stuff. So we'll just do something like font database. Let's include that. Font database, set default font query message default font query. And also the fixed width font query. Okay, so those will get set up when we connect. That's good. And then this message should look different now. So this would have also string const amp and string const amp. Oh, and we need to create the new override for update system fonts. Which we'll just do the same thing we did up here, except they will look like this. Quire, quick query. There you go. Cool. Let's see. It would be nice if we can just get this to work so that we get the fonts broadcast to everybody from Windows Server. And then we can worry about actually changing those font queries once we see that they actually get broadcast and received. Do we crash? Yes, we do. Crashy, crashy. Okay. What went wrong? Default font query should be non-empty, but it's not. In Windows Server itself. Okay, well, that's fair. I guess in Windows Server, we have to make an exception because Windows Server can't connect to Windows Server and ask for this stuff, right? It has to set this up itself. So we'll just do that early on here. Like this is in main where we load the system theme. We have to do the same thing for the fonts here. So I think we'll just do, actually, I guess we can do this. This is where we would set these. And we don't have to hard code them in that other place. Font settings. Maybe I didn't need this file at all. Oh, these things are not exposed. Right, I didn't expose them. Default font query. This is a little bit, this feels like a very awkward API in general, but let's just pull on the thread and see where we get to. So, okay. Yeah, we probably don't need font settings if we just put this information into libgraphics, but I'm not sure exactly. Okay, that didn't work right. Okay, so I have a noldy ref in terminal, and it was in terminal widget paint event. Sure. So presumably something has gone wrong. Let's see. I guess let's log what font queries get set in the database here. So let's see, fixed with font is null putter, sure. That's default font query. Yes. So what do we get? File manager. Well, both the font queries are identical, so that's a bit weird. Why are they? Default font query. Did I just mess that up here? Yes, I did, of course. They need to be different. Okay, there we go. It is a bit alarming that terminal crashed if it had the wrong font query, but maybe that's because there is some assumption that it's always a fixed width font, because normally you can only set a fixed width font on terminal. So I think there's probably something that breaks if you set a variable width font. But anyway, that seems to have worked correctly. See, everybody's receiving the font queries, and let's see if multiprocess browser breaks. As expected, it does, because it does not have font information. So we have to actually forward that to the web content process. But that's something that we already do with the system theme. So let's see how we do that. The out of process web view will start by sending the system theme and the screen rect to the other side. So we will just also forward the fonts information here. So fixed with font query. Well, that was some professional text editing right there. Why don't we slap one of those in there since we're here, and let's make sure we also add here. Default font query and fixed width font query. And then of course, somebody needs to actually receive these, which would be this guy right here, web content client connection. So we'll just add those bad boys to this class right up in here. Default font query. Okay. And I guess then we just forward them to the font database class. Yeah, so this is this only has to be done because the web content process runs without Windows Server. So the browser process has to forward whatever information from Windows Server is relevant to the web content process has to be forwarded because there's no direct connection between those. But that should be easy enough. So fixed with font. Okay. Let's see if that's enough to bring up the browser as well. Yes, it was. Perfect. Well, that is just jolly nice. So I think maybe we'll do a commit here at this point. Because we have actually achieved something quite nice, which is that we have gotten rid of the hard-coded font queries in the font database class and successfully moved them to the main function of Windows Server. So now this is where the system fonts are controlled. So yeah, let's consider this an achievement. And these font settings things that I added, I think let's back out of that actually. Can I do that? Wait, what am I trying to do? Yeah, let's backtrack on the whole font settings thing because we don't need that. We just need the graphics font database. That's what we need. Okay, and then let's just get rid of these files. And I think we should still be good here. So yeah, cool. Let's commit this. Lib graphics plus Windows Server. Move Windows Server broadcast default system fonts settings. Instead of everybody getting their system fonts from graphics font database, where it's hard-coded, they now get it from Windows Server. These are then plumped into the usual graphics font database places so that the old default font and wait, what did we call that again? Default fixed with font. Yeah, I feel like I'm taking some weird shortcuts with the names here. But we'll probably get back to improving on that. None of this is final for sure. But let's just a stepping stone. We have to take some steps here. So this is the first step. And then next step, I guess, is just having a way to change this stuff. So we have something like, for setting the theme, we have set system theme. So we could totally add set system fonts. Default font query, fixed width font query. And I guess we can do the success. We can return whether it succeeded or not, because I guess Windows Server would like to validate that we can actually look up these fonts here. So we'll do that. And I think at that point, we're pretty much good. That should be what we need. And let's also implement that function, I guess. So that would go in Windows Server Client Connection. Set system theme. We'll just put it here. Okay. It's a bit like that one, but slightly different. Yeah, so for now, we're not going to validate them. We should validate them, but I guess we don't have the means to do so here. Or could we just do that? I guess we can do a lookup here, now that I think about it. We can just get by name on them. So get by name, default font query. So that fails. Or if either of them fail, then we will refuse. Otherwise, we will succeed. Yeah. I mean, that was not too much work. So now we have a way to do that. Also, why did I call it M set system fonts? Who knows? And then if somebody does this, we need to broadcast this change. So how do we broadcast the system theme thing? Everybody gets an async update system theme, and we send those for each window. Update theme for each window. I mean, that makes sense, I guess. It's almost like we should send them to every client, not just everybody who happens to have a window on screen at the moment. Because if you're, this is a little bit weird, but like if you're a client that has connected, but you don't yet have a window, you wouldn't get the latest information. So I wonder if this has a bug here, actually. That like if you update the theme and a client has launched but not yet created a window, would he learn about the theme change? I think possibly not. Yeah, well, we should look into that separately. I'm just gonna make a little note of that. Check if we need to update all clients about theme change. It looks like we currently might not send new theme to clients if they don't have a window open yet. Well, that was a very badly written note, but I will know what it means. Hopefully. Okay, so what I really want to do is I want to go for each client, because the system font is like applies to all clients, right? So client connection for each client. Perfect. Look at us now. What are we going to tell them? We're going to tell them update system fonts. Oh, heck yeah. Default font query, fixed width font query. Now that is some expressive shit. That turned out really nice. Cool. And then next step, I guess, is to build something into the display settings application to change these. So let's see, let's make a UI for that. So we currently have the background and the monitor tabs here. Let's just make a new tab, and I think let's start with the background settings tab, just as a reference. Hey, what did I call that? New GML. Okay. Okay, so let's edit this UI and make it about fonts instead. So we get rid of the monitor widget, and we really just have two settings here. And what would be a nice way to show this? I guess, so what did they do here? So they have like the name of the font setting, and then name of the font and the size. And this like button text right here is the font that I'm using, right? So these are Tahoma's bold, and JetBrains Monoregular is my fixed width font. In case you didn't know, I got used to seeing it in C-line, so I changed my system-wide fixed width font to be that. It's quite a nice typeface, actually. So what do we do? I mean, we can get rid of all the stuff on the right-hand side. And let's see. So let's build something that has maybe, let's just try some stuff. So make a group box. And we don't need this label, actually. And maybe the title will be something like hello. No, not hello. Default font. And in there you would have I don't know, like 616, 66, something like that. We could have a big text label that shows what this font looks like. That would be kind of cool. So maybe something like GUI label, background color, yeah, white, fill with background true. Height, say, I don't know, 40 or something like that. I was thinking, is this a frame? It's not a frame thing, no. We could do it as a frame. That might look even slicker. And then we'll just put a label into here. So this one will say like name of font. Like font name. We can just put the query verbatim. Actually, that's probably okay. And then maybe we should have a button to let you change it. Should that be on the, wait. Maybe I shouldn't have put these in a group box, actually. Maybe that doesn't make sense. You know what, let's go with the mate style here. So we'll put a label on the left side. Horizontal box layout, please. Okay. Shrink to fit, true. Right. Okay. This, I'm getting a bit better at using GML Playground for prototyping, but some parts of it I feel like could be more ergonomic. Like this is a mouthful, for example. I bet we could do a lot better with some handy aliases for this type of thing. Also, the way that like control left and right work, it feels really counterintuitive. Like control left and right. Like if I do control right at this position, it just jumps to here. If I recall correctly, it's because this is kind of a hack here that like whatever follows the colon is treated as a JSON value, and then we don't look any closer at it than saying like, oh, well, everything after the colon is a JSON value. The JSON parser will take care of that. So the editor widget doesn't have that great information to go on here when you want to like jump left and right. But in general, though, like I really like this markup language. It is very handy for our UIs. So like default font, maybe auto size true, or should we get a fixed width? Maybe just 100. Maybe 40 was kind of aggressive on those. Let's say like this feels vaguely reasonable. And the default font should probably be aligned a bit differently. So center left. Yeah, okay, well let's try this. And then let's also duplicate this. Oh, no, wait, we need a button or something. Totally forgot. We need somewhere for you to press when you want to change. So, hello? What do we say here? Like, dot 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 or something. Here you just click on the thing to change it, but I feel like it's okay to have a button here. And should we try to make these the same height as the... That does look pretty tasteful, actually. Okay, let's roll with that. Okay. And then let's duplicate. And for the second one, we'll say like fixed. Oh, that doesn't fit. I wonder if fixed width or monospace is a better term. I like both. Lately, I've been doing, like whenever I run into these kind of naming issues, I've been making Twitter polls. And it's really interesting to see what is sort of the more popular choices. Because I would say like 4 out of 5 times it's what I expect, but I've been surprised. Fixed. Fixed. Do I have to say fixed with font? It gives me less space, but maybe it's okay. Also, this is a limitation of the layout system that we don't have a grid layout, so I'm forced to actually set this hard-coded fixed width in 2 places, which is not super great. Also, these margins are just totally wild. We don't need them, I think. Yeah, we didn't need those. Well, we can definitely have a bit more spacing though in the outer layout, like 8. That seems okay. And then a little bit of spacing internally here. Just looking at the spacing in here. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, oops. There's that control left, control right confusing me. Okay, so let's start with this as our base. I think that'll be okay. And then we'll have to give these things names. So these 2 need names and the buttons need names so that we can access them from C++. So here, like default font label. Default font button. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. We'll save it as foo.gml. Did that get saved? Yes, it did. Okay. So let's get that file, put that here. And then just whack it into applications display settings, where we should probably call it something else. Oh, oops. What do we call it? Font settings GML seems pretty good. We'll need a new widget for it as well, so no big deal. Oh, right, font settings widget HCP cp. Please reload CMake project. There we go. I think we're actually going to put the font settings up front so that's the first thing you get just while we're testing. I don't think it needs to be the first thing you see later, but just for testing we'll put it up front. Display settings, font settings widget. Like that. Yup. Then so we're gonna get rid of everything here. Wait, what am I trying to type? libgui widget. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why I needed to, to copy paste the base for this one. But let's just keep going. So font settings widget, and we also need the display of applications, display settings, font settings, gml.h. Okay. Well, isn't this tidy? So what do we put up in here? See if it builds first of all. It does not. Unused variable. Well, I'm sorry. Did I not use that variable for anything? I can do that. There we go. And then we should load it from GML. So we'll load it from font settings GML. Sure. Let's just take a look at it, what it turned out like. Just pouring some more tea here. Beautiful. Yeah, that's definitely good for a start, I would say. Obviously, there's a lot of vertical space, but we don't need to figure out what to do with all of that right now. Let's see here. So, gotta hook some things up. So the default font label is going to be find descendant of type label named default font label. And I also had buttons, and we are going to need a font picker up in here. So font picker. Default font button, button, and the fixed width font, bouton, sure. Oops. Okay. So if you click on the default font button, then I guess we'll do something like font picker. Wait, how do you make one of these? I forget how to make these. You just instantiate one, give it the current font, and you say fixed width only true or false. Okay, sure. So font picker, construct, provide our window. And the current font is going to be, I guess, oh, interesting. So what we'll do is default font label, we'll set the font, set font to font database default font. It's interesting that we're working on this now because this is something I've been meaning to do for like 2 years, and for some reason I decided that today is the day when we do this. But it's definitely going to be a nice thing to have. I don't know why I waited so long. Sometimes you just wait a long time to do stuff. So default font label font. And we'll pass it like that, and we'll say fixed width only is, in this case, false. So we tolerate that. Oh, shoot. And right. So I guess we can capture those by reference, actually, because they are going to stay valid. I'm very hesitant to capture everything by reference since I'm not in main. As a rule of thumb, I don't want to capture blindly by reference like this, right? If you just do this, because it is a massive foot gun, something that comes up again and again. If you do this, you have to be aware that this lambda here will outlive the stack and the function that you're currently in. So any reference to anything on the stack might be gone by the time your callback happens. So, but we know that these widgets are going to remain in place, so it's okay to capture those by reference. But let's do it explicitly so that we don't shoot ourselves in the old foot. Font picker exec, I guess. GUI dialog exec okay. Did we get an exec okay? If so, default font label set font picker font. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then I guess we should also set the text. Oh, shoot. We only have the font. Can we get a name for that? Qualified name. I think that's what we want. I think that's what I've been calling those things. Right. And why does that not work? Oh, because I screwed up the name? Sure. So I didn't need to capture that here, and I need to do that here instead. Oops. Why am I so copy-paste heavy today? I don't know why. Let's just tolerate it for now. So we can actually see that this one is using the font here. So we changed to 12 and it grows. That's pretty cool. Cool. So Liberation Serif, look at that. Bloop. That's the libttf TrueType library in action. I actually have some TrueType fonts installed. Serenity Sans, the famous Serenity Sans, of course. Still needs some work, but it is a funny looking font. But we need to make apply actually send this stuff to Windows Server. So let's do that. So we'll get called here, and then what we'll do is GUI Windows Server connection. And then we'll say set system font. And then I guess we just have to provide the, oh, we need the names of those. Well, we can fetch them down here. I was thinking, should we put these in a member or something? But, we can do it this way. Fixed, I need the fixed one as well. It's a bit of a strange way of doing it, but it's probably okay. Okay, so we change it to Liberation Serif, why not? And apply. And nothing happened. Okay, well, I wonder if that's... I guess I had too much faith in it. Let's see if we actually send this information to Windows Server. Received unusable font queries. Let's say those. Default font query fixed with font query. Okay. I think we need to do some like invalidation of a bunch of things when this happens also. But let's just make sure that people find out about these things. No, not you. Display settings, right. Bloop. Updating fonts. I mean, that part looks good. So everybody has the new font. Oh, look. And it's actually in used. Okay, wait. So if I make it bigger, apply, start a new program. So in a new program, it's bigger. And the old thing, it gets bigger, just didn't invalidate. Got it. Okay. So it needs a little bit of help. Also, this program does not update for some reason. That's weird. If you relaunch it, it does. Interesting. Okay, so we need to invalidate just everything. And I guess everybody should like redraw themselves when they receive this information. So when you get a theme change event, then what we do is we do window update all windows. So I think we're gonna have to do the same thing here. So this is in the client. Like after we set these in the client side font database, then we will update all windows in that client. So we'll have something running and then we will change to a larger font, bloop, and apply. Okay. I would have expected update all windows to force update. People, do they get these? Font update. Let's find out if these are being received. Text editor did get a system font update. But update all windows seems to have done nothing. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Feels like something isn't working 100% here. Either way though, we also need to, like when the fonts change, we need to update Windows Server as well. So, what do we have? Like invalidate, we want to invalidate like the compositor. Really, we want to do whatever you do when you do a theme change. So you do an update theme. When you do an update theme, what does the window manager do? It notifies the window frames that the theme has changed. I think maybe we should do that. Okay, we should probably move this out somewhere. Invalidate after theme or font change. Yeah, let's do something like that. And then we will just see if we can grab all of this crap, put it up here. Right, and then invalidate after theme or font change. And then we can do the same thing when you change the font. Because there's a whole bunch of metrics and stuff that need to be recomputed anyway. Because like title bar heights are dependent on the glyph height of the font used and things like that. Okay, so ploop, apply. That works better. Okay. Although it's still weird that this program does not update. So I have a bunch of things running. Go back to the old one. Apply. They all change. I wonder if they get locked into a font at some point, and then they cache that font and they hold on to it. I guess that might be what's happening, that they save the font somewhere. So yeah, that's probably gonna take a bunch of work to make sure that applications react to this, because it looks to me like they've just like cached a copy of the font they had when they started, and then it just gets stuck, right? Like the status bar here has its font cache for whatever reason. Let's look at how that happens. Font is not even mentioned anywhere. I guess those are labels though. So the widgets inside the status bar are labels, and font. What is the font of a widget? Starf and font, sure. Oh, when you create a widget, does he just copy the default font? He does. Okay, well that's a bit of a mess. So I'm not gonna untangle that right now. But yeah, basically all widgets copy the default font on construction. So we need we're gonna need some smarter way to express a font maybe. So maybe instead of having like a direct pointer to the font object, you would store like the font query instead. And you could have a default font query, for example. I'm not sure exactly, but we don't have to solve everything right now. This does take effect for newly launched Windows, so I think that's pretty much good enough at this point in time. And then, oh, that looks like shit. And then we can keep iterating on this, but I like what we have built here so far. It's a start. So some things we should do, we should make sure that the fonts is not the first thing in the display settings. So I want it to be maybe between background and monitor would look nice. And then now we did not look at persisting these settings. I think I'm not going to do that in this video, but it's probably something I will do offline later today. But right now I'm just interested in finishing up this stuff. So I think maybe we'll leave that debug line in there. So this is adding the set system fonts IPC message to Windows Server, factoring out the invalidation that happens post theme or font change. Yeah, those are very good changes, I think. Okay. Windows Server plus libgui. Add an IPC API to change the system font. Yeah, so this patch adds a set system fonts IPC API, takes 2 font queries, takes the 2 main font queries as parameters. Probably expand this with additional queries when we figure out what they should be. Yeah, note that updating the changing the system fonts on a live system mostly takes effect in newly launched programs. This is because GUI widget currently will currently cache a pointer to the graphics font database default font when first constructed. This is something we'll have to fix somehow. Yeah. Also note that the settings are not yet persisted. Okay, and then just adding that font settings widget to display settings. I mean, that one is really straightforward, so. This allows you to edit the edit and apply to view, edit, and apply changes to the system fonts. Yeah, that's what it does. Maybe we should persist. Persisting these in a simple way would not be difficult. So let's do that in main, because we already load the theme, so we can just store these in the same file. Honestly, like, why not? Windows Server ini. I'll just put like fonts. Default 400 fixed width. Then 400. There we go. I mean, that was not difficult. So default font query is read entry fonts default, and here we can do this so that if you put something gunky, or if you remove the entry, then at least we'll fall back to something. Yeah, we can do this. This is not so bad. And then when you change these, we'll just update the file. So set system fonts. Let's see. Do I need to do that? No, I didn't need to do that. Okay. But I do need to change this to say fixed width. Okay, so if I go here and I decide that I want to have a larger system font in both of these cases, I apply those settings. I think it's like partially applied. So I decide that, all right, fine. And then we reboot. Everything is now large. Okay, so I think that's good enough for today. Windows Server Store. System font queries in Windows Server ini. Yeah. Changes to the system font settings are now persisted in etc. Note that you still need to restart the system for changes to fully apply in all programs. Yeah, still though, that's pretty cool. So I think that's going to be it for today's video. If you made it this far, then I thank you for watching, for hanging out. I think that we made some pretty neat stuff here, so I hope that some of that was interesting. And let's make a really big one. And it looks a little bit goofy, but doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, this one should only allow fixed width fonts, actually. Let's fix that. Where was that? Font settings widget. Should only be allowed to select fixed width fonts. Clunk, clunk, and look at that. Now that is a large fixed width font. Some would say it's perhaps too large. Anyway, yeah, that's good. So let's end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.